NF7J. Kevin, are you on frequency?
NF7J, good evening.
Would you like to proceed with training, please?
Thank you, Steve. So, please proceed to the IdahoERC.org website and open up this evening's slides. And we're going to talk tonight a little bit about the spring exercise that happened last Saturday. First off, we would encourage you, if you participated in the exercise and have not yet taken the opportunity to fill out the exercise evaluation, please click on that link. It's at the top of the page this evening, the ERC Spring Exercise Evaluation, and take a few minutes. And that helps us, give us good feedback to help us as we conduct these exercises in the future. So last Saturday we had a area-wide, area being the Eastern Idaho area, spring ERC exercise, and I think those who participated had a lot of fun. Let's go to slide number 2. So, as we've done training for multiple weeks prior to the exercise, this slide kind of shows how things were laid out in general. The specifics are different depending on ward and stake, but in general you had individuals that comprised ward nets, wards comprised stake nets, then you had multiple stakes that were comprised of a regional net that linked all of those stakes together, and then all of those regions were connected together via a storehouse net. And so you had a team. This is very much a big team effort, all the way from individual operators at the ward and stake level, all the way through to the regional net control and the storehouse net control. At the storehouse level, it brought together all of the region net control teams, as well as HF radio support and satellite links. So we had most of the net control teams all linked via audio and video feed via Starlink internet. So we had Starlink running on emergency power and linking everybody, and that worked fantastic. Very, very cool things we learned. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the main thing I want to stress here is that this really was all a big team. Let's go to slide number 3. So team efforts achieve miracles, and I think what was demonstrated through this exercise is that we can bridge multiple different types of radio systems, from GMRS and FRS to amateur radio. We can bridge 2 meters to 70 centimeter amateur radio, HF amateur radio, even satellite links to go to where we can't maybe get into other areas. So all of these things brought together created a huge team effort and gives us an incredible capability in the future that really could help us to perform miracles. Let's go to slide number 4. So let's take a look at the active participants by region. So the Idaho Falls North region had 17 active participants, not including the net control operators. South region had 19. Rexburg I have highlighted in yellow because they were the overachievers with 40 active participants, and the Rigby region with 24, for an even total of exactly 100 active exercise participants. Let's go to slide number 5. So this is interesting. So this shows the breakdown of radio services that were participating. So we had 56 that indicated that their primary mode of operation was amateur radio. 37 were using GMRS and FRS, which was incredible, fantastic actually, because that significantly increased the number of operators. Commercial operators, we had 5, and 2 people selected that they were utilizing other services. So that grand total is basically 100. So that is interesting. So I highlighted the GMR-FRS because that was a fantastic number for a first-time exercise, and look at how it really added to the number of amateur radio operators. More than half worth of GMRS compared to amateur radio operators. Let's go to slide number 6. So this just kind of looks at how long it took to fulfill a resource matched up with the need the fastest, and I didn't look to see which stake, but one of our stakes was able to do a match in 12 seconds. So that's pretty good. So whoever did that in 12 seconds, right off the bat, that was great. Others took longer, but the time didn't really matter because it takes a little bit of time to kind of for the process to flow through. But let's go to slide number 7. So this shows needs by net level. Net level being like a stake net level or a region. We did not track by ward. So all of the ward nets were kind of included in the stake level. So you had 65 needs that were unmet by the time we ended the exercise at the region level and 50 at the stake level. But here's where we got things got very interesting. So we had 63 needs that were filled at the region level and 173 that were filled at the stake or ward level. And for a total of 236 needs that we found resources to match. So that's a lot of radio traffic to fill 236 matching the needs and resources. So that was awesome. And here's kind of the mystery. We had a total of 66 needs that were skipped. So we provided the ability to skip a need based on some previous requirements. Going forward, we'll likely eliminate that, but we're going to talk a little bit and maybe find out why we had so many people that skipped a need. Because, like in a real emergency, a need still exists whether you find the resource for it or not, but the needs kind of still exist. So part of that may just be how we explain things, but bottom line is we probably don't need to skip needs in the future, but we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Let's go to slide number 8. So these were the needs by region. So if you look at the Idaho Falls North region, they had 25 unfilled needs when the exercise ended. They filled 25, and they skipped 9. South region had 19. We're still working on trying to find the resource for, but they filled 60. So fantastic job there for the South region. They only skipped 3. The Rexford region, they had 78 needs they were still looking for resources for at the end of the exercise. They filled 73, which is fantastic. They only skipped 18. The Rigby region had 35 unfilled needs, and they fulfilled 74, barely edging out Rexburg. But the mystery here is, why did Rigby have 51 skipped needs where they couldn't find it? Maybe they went to the next one. So we'll kind of find out here in a minute, or we hope to find out in a minute. But that was kind of interesting. Let's go to slide number 9. Apologize, I'm losing my voice tonight. So this is a comparison of the same exercise that used the exercise app in fall of 2023 compared to the spring of 2025 this past Saturday, and kind of the difference. So there were a total of, in 2023, 115 people registered on the website, the exercise website, compared with this year we had 169 register. So that was a 47% increase over 23. So that's great. So if we look at the number of people who actually participated, because you can sign up but you didn't actually participate. So we had 72 in the fall of 23 that were active participants compared to 100 this year, right on the nose of active participants. So that's a 39% increase. So that's a pretty substantial increase, which was honestly one of the main things we were shooting for, because we've had a steady decline in participation for multiple years. So we did definitely turn things around with this exercise. So in fall 23, we had 175 open needs at the end of the exercise. Compared to this year, we had 157 that we still hadn't found the resources for. In the fall 23, we fulfilled 45 needs. This year we fulfilled 236. That was a 424% increase. Now, to be fair, that was in large part due to a software bug that we had that prevented some of the things from working correctly that we fixed, and so things were working much better this year. So you see with that number of 236 fulfilled needs, so that's fantastic. So the number of skipped needs in the fall of 23 There were 72. This year we had 81 skip. Next year we'll probably have 0. Again, we'll probably remove that capability as we don't see a need for it any longer. Let's go to slide number 10. So let's just look at a few images for those that didn't get a chance to see because you're busy in your wards and stakes. So this is on the left is Daniel Owens, KD7DAE. He was acting at this point as net control on the 70-centimeter storehouse net that linked all of the regions together. And so that's what it looked like from the emergency communication facility on BYU, Idaho, on one end of the room anyway. On the right side, that's an image of the Starlink system on the roof of the Austin building there on the campus of BYUI with a very generously donated satellite system from Daniel Beck, KF7NWU. By the way, Daniel, if you're on frequency, I need to follow up with you after the net. But thank you so much. Daniel donated multiple Starlink systems to the exercise, which allowed us to test out this new capability using Starlink, and it was really interesting. So here you see a solar panel. Right behind it, the white square, is the actual Starlink dish. It's called a Starlink Mini, tiny. It's like about I don't know if it's a foot square or a little bit less, and an inch or so deep. They're small, they're tiny. And in the middle behind there is a lithium-ion battery, and then the case that holds the Starlink system. And so this worked fantastic. We actually went on battery only for most of the exercise, and we realized, we got to go plug in the solar panel just for fun. So we plugged in the solar panel, which not only powered the Starlink system 100%, but it provides, it seems like it's about 5 times more power than the Starlink system takes, which is crazy with a 100-watt portable solar panel. Let's go to slide number 11. This is kind of looking on the other side. In the back corner there, you'll see the what was used as the HF station. There's actually multiple radios at multiple operating positions at the BYU Idaho facility. It's very nicely. There in the center, you see Caleb Hornbeck, KF7CVT. Caleb is the software developer that developed the app. And there you see him working on managing the exercise software. And you see the large monitor is giving us real-time statistics all the way through the exercise that allowed us to monitor things and kind of identify some issues. We had issues that were reported during the exercise, and Caleb was in changing code real time during the exercise, trying to help us make this thing better as we went. So thank you very much to Caleb. He put a lot of effort into building this app, and it was built on a system that he normally does not develop in. He's a full-time software developer, but we had to build this in kind of a special system that allowed us to do all of the updates on everybody's system all simultaneously. So this thing was talking to everybody's cell phone and iPad and computer all at the same time, as well as updating our statistics, and which allowed us to do some very interesting things with this exercise. On the right is on the roof of the Austin building at BYU, Idaho. You can see a tower with the beam antenna there, and some antennas. There's other antennas in the, behind from where this picture is taken. So this is another view of that Starlink dish, and then you see the solar panel there that's kind of in the shadow. On a beautiful day we had for the exercise. Let's go to slide number 12. So this is what it looked like from a regional net control perspective. Here's a couple of images from the North Region net control. On the left, you see their antennas. On the little table on the grass there is their Starlink dish sitting right there on the table. So that's how they were linked in by a Starlink in the BYU, Idaho, and other regional net control. It was so cool because we saw real-time video and audio from all the net control teams, all via emergency power and emergency satellite through the Starlink systems. It was really cool. So you see multiple antennas there for the North region, and it looks like they're having fun in a brief moment where they could talk Things got busy at times. Other times they're a little bit slower, but fantastic teams at all the net control stations. Let's go to slide number 13. So I'm going to kind of pause, and I'm going to open this up for comments, questions for anybody on any topic you'd like dealing with the exercise, recommendations to help us make it better. It's not perfect. Our software still, we fixed many things during the exercise, and we have some ideas on things we want to do going forward to make it even better, as this was the second time we've used it. So if we use it again, we'll make it even better. But I'll pause now. Please come down with your call sign.
Kilo Mike 4, Quebec Alpha Alpha.
Quebec Alpha Alpha, go ahead.
Yes, Kevin, I thought this was an excellent exercise. Toward the end, we started smoothing out on getting need reported and fulfilled, and we were also tracking some resources that were available, but it's much closer to real world, and I'm really glad we did it. Back to you.
Thank you. I mean, that's the primary thing, that even though we had some fun items that were ingested into the items, the needs basically, and the resources, but the basic premise that we hope everybody walked away with is a better understanding of how multiple different radio nets and different radio systems can all work together as a team to pass information and track things down. So that's the key takeaway, that we're hoping that through the process, as imperfect as it may have been for anybody at any level, I think that the basic teaching that we were trying to accomplish is how to accomplish these things. So in a real emergency, all of the concepts that were applied here, I think, are directly applicable. Please come down with any comments or questions. Come with your call sign, please.
Kilo 7, November Victor Charlie.
November Victor Charlie, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, appreciate this. Can you help us understand a little bit? I was working at the ward level. Was there traffic being passed across the regions to meet resources to needs? Meaning, if the north region had a need that they can't fulfill at their region, were they passing traffic up to the other regions? Back to you.
That's affirmative. So it works the same, basically at every level. Whatever you can't feel in a ward net, then it gets passed up to the stake. At the stake level, they try and share with all of the wards, and get it passed back to each of the wards. And anything that can't be fulfilled at the stake level gets passed up to the region level, and then which at the region level, it gets passed back to the stakes, and then to the wards, and so on. And then anything that can't get passed at that region gets passed up to the storehouse level, shared with other regions, then down to their stakes, and then down to their wards. So ultimately, in a perfect world, that's how it all works. And so that allows things to kind of move along through multiple radio nets. So part of the challenge is everybody kind of getting their, getting used to things and how things operate, and all the net control teams. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on the net control teams to pass all this traffic back and forth, but this is a common message passing methodology that's been used for decades on amateur radio. We just kind of have it shrunk down and simplified, and we have multiple radio nets to work through with a bunch of operators, so that's how we've done it. But yes, in theory, it should go from a ward to a stake to a region and to the storehouse, and then at each level it gets passed all the way down. At least ultimately, in a perfect world, that's how it's supposed to work.
Further comment from Kilo 7, November Victor Charlie.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, I asked that because I don't think there was ever an instance where we were still waiting on a need that I ever heard a call sign coming back outside of the region level. It seemed like all the needs that we fulfilled in our region were from resources within the region. I never did see it where something was passed. But I could be wrong, but it just seemed that there wasn't traffic back from the storehouse to the region, to the stake, down to the ward to fulfill those needs. So that's why I was asking. Back to you.
Yeah, so basically the responsibility is at each level. So if messages that come in needs that aren't fulfilled, they should get passed up to the next level. And when you don't hear back, you should go back and ask for them. So certain needs may get asked for multiple times, but at every level you want to make sure after it's been a reasonable amount of time, maybe you check back and say, hey, we're still waiting, we haven't heard back on this need. And then that kind of helps prompt the next level up to kind of pass things along. And so that may be one area that we need some more practice on, maybe a little bit more training to make sure that everybody understands that, yeah, if you don't find it at one level, you pass it to the next, and every level is working to get all of the resources back to somebody who needs them. The other piece of it is that, these all had a priority, a precedence. And so some things were emergency, others are routine, and so emergency traffic should have been passed up faster and been handled quicker at every level, because each of the operators along the way should have been announcing, this is emergency traffic, and everybody stops and takes care of it first. And that's why on all of our ERC nets you hear, that we'll pause for any emergency traffic. That's the same concept that we work here. Is we were demonstrating how we should be handling emergency traffic. It's emergency, so we have to handle it first. So that's the idea. So point taken, and I'm sure that there was probably room for improvement at every level. So good comments. Any more comments, please come down with your call sign.
F7FQE.
FQE.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 7FQE from Milo from the North Stake. We were halfway through the exercise before we finally got any wants or needs. Just for your input, over.
You're halfway through before you were able to send any needs up, or help me understand.
Break.
Go ahead.
This is KF7CBT. So that issue is something that we realized partway through, and I take responsibility for that. There is a part of the application that checks for people without needs or resources, and that part broke silently, so I didn't notice it until partway through. So that one is on my to-do list of things to improve for next time, is to make that process more reliable, so that we don't have people in your shoes, because I felt really bad that you were waiting there with nothing to do for so long, because that's obviously not the point of the exercise. But yeah, we are aware of that issue, and it's on the radar. KF7CBT.
Okay, now I understand where it's going. Yeah. So, apologize for that, but we did. Took us a little bit, but we finally spotted it, and Caleb got it fixed. So that's why things started working all of a sudden. Some people were fine, others had an issue, so it wasn't for everybody, but it was a problem. Any other comments or questions? Please come now.
Whiskey 0, Lima Foxtrot Zulu.
Foxtrot Zulu, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin and Annette. First and foremost, being the new Stake ECS assistant for Henry's Fork, first of all, I think this was a fantastic event, even though we had a little bit of hiccups. However, as any event, I put in quite a few lessons learned, kind of going back to what the one gentleman said, getting those priorities listed first. The tricky part one of the biggest things that I think I'm taking away from this, because I initially had somebody, two people, we'll say, working the radios at the time. I had 6 frequencies I had to listen to. We trying to get those narrowed down so we're not having to listen to that many. But when passing traffic, because Steve had me as liaison between the stake and going to the region, trying to get either a dedicated time or in a smoother transition, but we need to all slow down, because especially when I went to be by myself to try to capture that traffic from either the stake side or the region side or one of the other radios going on, some of it was coming, some of it, that transmission of, priorities or the needs, or being able to, get the resources. We just need to slow down, all of us, and just make sure that we're getting it across. And I know this was a test, and we had probably way more needs coming across than we might have in a real emergency. I'm going to break for the repeater.
thought it went really well, because I did notice again when I had somebody here that could kind of help listen and be ahead of the game, worked well. But I think, like, if it's coming from the region down, because then I have to I got to make sure that if the stake is coming to me and the region's coming to me, the region's coming to a bunch of us, not just me, just trying to fine-tune that where, maybe every 10 minutes or whatever time frame, right, every 10 minutes, the region's going to come back, or whatever the next level is that needs to do this, and say, this is what I'm going to make the announcements for, current needs for resources, and vice versa, so that if I'm, the person being potentially a liaison, doesn't have to try to stop, cut, and then let the other side know, hey, this is what's going on. But I had a lot of lessons learned, and I put it in the website that you sent out to us. But that, again, I think this thing should be done twice a year. I think once those issues were done with fixed with the app, I thought it started going really well, and I personally had learned a lot about what I needed from my perspective back to net control.
Thank you, and I'm glad that you took the time to write up those lessons learned, and I encourage everybody to do the same at your ward and stake levels. If you notice that things did not go well for certain things at your ward level or your stake level, or maybe you didn't have a ward team because you didn't have the participation, I would encourage you to take that back and talk through things with your ward leadership and stake leadership, and talk about how in an emergency are you going to communicate, and tell them about the exercise and what was learned, because that's how we move things along. And we anticipate that we will conduct this same exercise with the app along with other things that we did not do with this exercise that would involve priesthood leadership all the way from Salt Lake to here locally. And so it could be a much bigger exercise with more things going on in October. You have several months to get things in order. So if you've got recommendations within your ward stake, we encourage you to take the time and put those together. And again, if you haven't filled out the exercise evaluation, we encourage you to go do that. And feel free also to send any email or other comments to exercise@idahoerc.org. That's exercise@idahoerc.org. With any other comments or things you want to send us, we would greatly appreciate it. I'll take just a couple more comments, and then we'll close for the night. NF7J standing by.
KB7ITU.
Go ahead, Steve.
So what Chris said was absolutely true. But the reason that we had something like 13 operators, and I didn't want we kind of wanted to keep the whole stake in searching for matched needs and resources and stuff like that. So we definitely didn't have enough people in the net control position. So both Chris and I were running two frequencies at the same time. I was running ward to stake and stake to region, and Chris was running from stake to region. So it did make it a little bit tough, but in an emergency situation, lots of different things can happen. So all the problems that we faced is not something that we would not face in an emergency situation. So I mean, it was a wonderful exercise. My hat's off to everybody that went to such extremes with getting this prepared. It was a lot of work. Caleb done a fantastic job of getting us straightened out on our software glitches and stuff like that. And I could tell he was hopping. So as was everybody. So thanks everybody. Appreciate all you did for us, and I look forward to the one coming up this fall. KB7ITU, back to net.
Okay, well, thanks, everybody. I think we've reached our time, and I think we could spend another hour with these, and I think it would be good. So, again, if you can capture your comments, and if you'd like to have further discussions, include that in your evaluation. But please go and fill out the exercise evaluation, and that will help us. So, thanks again, everybody, and we look forward to improving and moving forward. So this is NF7J back to net control.
This is KC7IHV, and thank you, Kevin. I do have one question for those of you who have been involved in this kind of an exercise over the last few years. I think it was our first exercise that we had needs and resources. We had a need for a rotary snowplow. It was coming out of San Diego. The last time we've seen it was, I believe, in Las Vegas area. And I was wondering if that was located and if it's still on its way or not. If you got a comment, please come now.
Break KG7 RBF. This is we didn't see it or receive it yet. We're still looking for it.
Thank you. Appreciate you checking on that. I know that was a resource that you needed quite desperately, so I recall.
Affirmative. Back to net control.
So this goes to show you can have a little bit of fun with some of this stuff. Okay, again, thank you, Kevin, for all of the work and effort that you put into this and for the report this evening.